Well, this is an economic driver for this state as well as the country, and it is growing. We still see expansions coming online, and I see that continuing. We're talking about LNG now, talking about exporting LNG, and there's several places being put together to do that. The Panama Canal expansion will be bringing more cargo here, some larger ships. We need to be prepared for that, so we're doing what we can to prepare along those lines. But I see this being an economic driver for this great state for many years to come. Well, the idea that we keep finding more reserves here in Texas, shale, beyond, we're getting a large amount of oil and gas that we're finding here in Texas. That portends for a good future for us. We're now going to become one of the larger exporters of this, and the more we can open up markets in other countries, obviously that becomes even a bigger piece of our economic puzzle here. So I'm excited about the future. I think we have nothing but good things to look forward to. Obviously there's always bumps in the road. When you're talking about energy, you tend to have cycles, but Texas has shown that we can weather those storms and get through them and keep moving forward. People have talked about the U.S. being independent for years in the petroleum industry and in our supplies, and we're there. We can do that. So we're not dependent upon some volatile countries, particularly in the Middle East and that. I've lived long enough to see when they really pulled the plug on us and we had gas lines. I don't think you're going to see that in the near future, barring some unforeseen circumstance. We have secured our energy future here in Texas. Well, unfortunately, there are always potential internal issues. We had some discussions today talking about EPA and those types of things. You can have some things done with different administrations coming and going. You can have some that are very anti our industry. And so I think it's important that people be cognizant of that and not be bystanders for these types of things. We all have to be involved in watching and paying attention to what people are saying and what they might do to this industry. That's our biggest threat right now, is an internal threat of doing things for ourselves. So I think it's very important that we keep our eyes on the ball and understand. We do a pretty good job of this in Texas. We understand we have to take care of our economy first. Otherwise, it doesn't do any good to argue about how you're spending money if you don't have any money to spend. Well, obviously infrastructure is just a matter of dedicating resources. And most of that has been federal. As far as on the state side, it's education. And it's immediate as well. It's happening right now. We have jobs that are not being filled by people who grew up here because they don't have the skills to do them. We have a lot of in-migration, taking a lot of these jobs. But we need to take care of the people that live here and grow up here as well and prepare their future. So that's one of the things I'm really focused on, is making sure we give those kids, those students, the opportunity to get the skills they need to live successful lives. And then, yes, we need to offer those career tech opportunities and options, because not everyone's going to college, and we don't need everyone to go to college. And not everyone's geared for college. We have kids gifted and talented in so many different ways. Some are gifted and talented with their hands and putting things together. And some they're more capable and made for college. They're just different gifts and talents. And we just need to reach out to all those kids and make sure they all have the opportunities to make their lives, in their view, what's successful. Well, the value in this is not just this forum. It's all the time. It's year-round. The people have relationships. They know each other. When there's an issue coming up that they are all facing, they can come together and unite very quickly because they're already united. If you don't do this all the time and something comes up, particularly that might affect this region, and you don't have an entity like this to step up and be that one voice, one powerful voice, then you have much of smaller voices not making the same difference. So the value in this is banding together, knowing who your industry partners are, and when you have issues you can work together and that you can come together with a much stronger force. Well, what we're seeing now in the technological curve is it's getting steeper and steeper. Think about it, for 1,000 years plus, people use horses and wagons for transportation. I had a great uncle who almost made 106. He went from horse and wagon and buggy to commercial jet airlines and people landing on the moon. And we haven't stopped since then. Yeah. And that technological curve is going ever increasingly steep. And that's why it's so important to have the kids of today, the students of today, prepared for that. We can't train them as if they're going to go live in the 20th century. Yeah. They're living in the 21st century. The job demands are different. The things they'll be working on are entirely different. I mean, we have industries now we never even heard of when I was a kid. Well, automation is a big part of the reason why you can't just train people to be assembly line workers. Automation is doing that a whole lot better and more efficiently. So we need to have a higher level of skilled labor force out there. We're not doing the menial tasks anymore. Those are no longer the jobs of the future. Those jobs are being done by automation. So these people need to be creative. They need to be able to work in groups, problem solve, those types of things. That's the 21st century job skills and the ability to learn, because it's never going to stop. I mean, even today, if you follow the apps that are on your phone, they're coming up with new things all the time. The way we're computing things, the ideas we're working on, automated cars. I mean, it's self-driving vehicles. The world is going to continue to change very quickly, and people have to be willing to adapt and learn to keep up with those things.